Just marinate on this for a second, fellas. The 3-6-1 Eagles would host a playoff game if the season ended today. I am not lying. Dan Orlovsky back here with us. Max, what's the deal? Is it time to bench Wentz? What should they do?
The real truth of the matter is it doesn't matter anymore. He's too far gone. Let me explain something to everybody, because I noticed this toward the end of last season. Really the middle of last season. So either it's a coincidence, I just said something and it turned out that now everyone's catching up, or I was actually noticing something. Maybe the same thing the Philadelphia front office was noticing. That's why they drafted a quarterback in the second round. People still trying to rationalize that one away. Come on, for a 26-year-old on a franchise contract, you draft a quarterback in the second round for depth in the second round with all the problems the Eagles have? Stop it. Carson Wentz has been outplayed by every single quarterback or every opponent he's faced this year. And he hasn't exactly faced a who-who. It's mostly backups and third stringers and Daniel Jones a couple times. He has yet to outplay an opponent. He's thrown 14 interceptions in 10 games. He turns the ball over in Eagles territory all the time. His mechanics, decision-making, everything has shockingly regressed, right? So when did I say sit him down? Weeks ago, when you could have held him accountable. Doug Peterson won't even answer the question directly whether he has the autonomy to bench Carson Wentz, because you hear things like Wentz has a direct line to the owner, which is always a problem. He's been enabled, and his worst tendencies have been enabled. But how did we really get here? That's the important thing. Who is to blame? Well, can we see a three-shot, please? I want everyone to take a look at this gentleman right here. Let's see a three-shot. There he is. Dan Orlovsky, I blame you and people like you. Because last year when I noticed that Carson Wentz was regressing, and you have forgotten more football than I ever know. You are so great at breaking down tape that you noticed it too, obviously. You started making excuses. And so what happened? At the end of last season, Carson Wentz beat the NFC East 4 times. The most putrid division in the history of football until this season's NFC East. And I noticed, wait a minute, he's lucky to win these games. These are awful teams. Don't tell me about Eagles injuries. Those teams basically always have injuries because they have no players. That's why they're terrible. They have no talent, right? So they're awful. And Carson Wentz beats those teams, turning the ball over on third down in the fourth quarter, lucky that his team recovers it. Those kind of plays. So at the end of this season, instead of doing real soul searching, what do I have to get better at? Maybe I need to be more accountable on drives where I'm trying to do too much. Maybe I shouldn't play hero ball. Maybe I need to know when to throw the ball away or take the sack, right? Instead of doing real soul searching, he was emboldened because he turned on the TV and heard Dan Orlovsky talking about how great he is, and you, Stephen A. Smith, who should know better. You backing it up. Oh, the Eagles with all these injuries, it's not just Carson Wentz's fault. Yes, it was. He was enabled and emboldened by people talking about how great he was. The offseason came, and he's sitting. What he needed to be doing was real soul searching. What do I have to do better? What do I have to correct? He has done none of that. The mistakes have just gotten worse. His coach is scared to say that, answer the question whether he has the autonomy to bench him. I told you weeks ago he needed to be benched to be held accountable. I don't think Carson Wentz will ever be the Carson Wentz from 2017 again.
Well, first of all, if you're going to go on such a lengthy soliloquy, you should at least have the decency to answer the question directly. Is it time to bench Carson Wentz? The answer isn't, it doesn't matter. There's a yes or no answer to that question, which you never gave us. That's number one. Number two, I'll give you the answer. The answer is no. It's not time to bench Carson Wentz. And here's the reason why. Doug Peterson told you why. Dan, you sort of quote. Max, you sort of quote. What did the man say? To bench Carson Wentz is basically conceding that your season is over.
Right.
If that ain't an indictment, what is? We saw Brian Flores bench Ryan Fitzpatrick to bring in a rookie quarterback because he said that's the change we think we needed. Then we saw him bench Tua yesterday. because the team needed a spark and he was underperforming. We've seen throughout NFL histories starting quarterbacks get benched many, many times in the best interest of the team, not just for the future, but the immediate future. We've seen that. So for Doug Peterson to say that is the ultimate indictment against Jalen Hurts, because what he's saying is this young brother is not ready. And if we were to bench Carson Wentz, as bad as he has been, 14 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, ain't even completing 59% of his passes. This brother right here, with those numbers, if we bench him, we're saying even at 3-6-1, with him playing horribly, our season is over. That's all you need to know about Jalen Hurts, that he ain't ready, because Doug Peterson said that as a quote. So that's where I'm at with it. Of course, Carson Wentz looked bad. He looks awful. But, Dan, I'll pass it to you by saying this. Yes, we made all of these excuses. I tweeted yesterday about Max Kellerman. And you know what? I'm done with Carson Wentz. You know what, Max? You're right. I got it because he looks that damn bad. But it didn't mean that I'm denying what their offensive line was giving them. It didn't mean I'm denying all the injuries they sustained. It didn't mean I'm denying them being bereft of weapons the way that they are. All I'm saying is he's so bad with that pick six that he threw yesterday, which was so inexcusable. I've just lost all patience with him. But clearly, Jalen Hurts ain't the answer, because if he had anything to give you, Doug Peterson would have put him in there. Dan, the floor is yours.
All right, so first of all, before I say anything, let me get this out of the way. Carson Wentz is not playing good football. He's just not playing good enough, okay? Now, is it time to bench Carson Wentz? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous talk. Okay, if we're going to play Jalen Hurts, he's a very specific style of quarterback, right? He's going to be the quarterback run where you're going to get the zone reads and the RPOs and the play action pass. You know what that takes? Creativity on offense. You know what the Eagles lack? Creativity on offense. So don't tell me it's time to bench Carson Wentz because I've got this backup quarterback with Jalen Hurts that I can get super creative with. You can't get creative with Carson Wentz. So you're certainly not going to get creative with Jalen Hurts. If there's anything to bench in Philly right now, it's their offensive scheme. Their offensive scheme stinks in Philadelphia right now. It's bad. I'm going to take everyone through the game yesterday. And everyone can tell me that these are about excuses. No, it's not. It's my job as an analyst to analyze what's going on. So they go down in the first drive of the game yesterday, and they go right down the field running the football. And then Miles Sanders fumbles. The weather's awful. That's fine, okay? The very next drive, they come out and start throwing the ball. Why? You just went down the field. You just went down the field running the football. 2nd and 7. The interception for the pick six, okay? 2nd and 7. One, it should have been a run. Number 2, let's say that Carson Wentz misses that read because it's a muddy read. There's a linebacker in the vision. Safety might break in the ball. Let's say he misses it and he throws a check down. The check down shouldn't be a pick six. Rodgers, pick up the corner. The ball's going to be out in space to Miles Sanders one-on-one. And everyone's going to go, wow, Carson Wentz not playing hero ball, getting the ball out of his hands, ends up being a pick six. The one with Alshon Jeffrey, that's just a jump ball. So listen, Carson's not playing well, but you're not going to bench Carson Wentz. You're not creative enough on offense.
Dan,
so these
you're
aren't
missing
excuses.
the point.
Max, no. Here's the thing, Max. You continue to go back to last year. Last year was an NFL.
There's a reason I go back to last year. Dan, I go back to last year because you were telling me I was crazy.
Max,
but I was noticing a
NFL
trend,
record.
and it has continued. Unless you think I was just making it up and I got lucky in the prediction because I was making it up and then suddenly he's fulfilling the prediction. I saw it happen last year. Internal clock,
real quickly,
decision making, the way he sees the field, ball security.
But he broke an NFL record.
Everything is bad, and it started last year. Wait a minute,
But in the middle of that, he broke an NFL record.
Benching him is about